All right, y'all, we got a whole lot to talk about because a lot of stuff is going down on the Plains, which means we got to do our weekly catch-up with our guy, Mike Gittens. Welcome to War Rapport Wednesday, everybody. Mike, obviously a busy time on the Plains. We got to start on the baseball diamond. Auburn is a host in the regional tournaments. All roads lead to Omaha, but one of them will start in Auburn. How excited are people at Auburn, especially the baseball fans?
I'm very excited. It was Bruce Pearl that coined the term everything school.
That's
so,
true.
having the spring sports do well is a big part of being an everything school. You know Butch, like I know Butch,
yeah.
And he had a rough year last year, but they've reloaded and they bounced back right now. And so being able to host a regional is an extreme advantage for Auburn baseball here to try to get out of this round into the next round. So it'll be fun to see what they are able to do up there at Plainsman Park here, on the baseball side. I'm excited to see how far they go this year. I think right now where this team is at, what they've accomplished in the last few years, making the College World Series, anything short of Omaha is going to be considered a disappointment this year for sure.
For a program like this, it looked like in 2019 they had that magical run to Omaha. Guys like Ryan Bliss from our area were on that team. This is starting to become a more regular thing. Is it a good thing that Omaha is now kind of the expectation and the standard we're holding this team to?
Yes, it is. And NIL has helped them greatly with that. Now, I sat down with Coach, at the beginning of the NIL era. And what a lot of people don't know is in the state of Alabama, they are not allowed to give full scholarships.
That's wild.
Right, for baseball. So what you have is like half scholarships that they give that they have to divide up amongst the players. And then after that, they've got to fill that with, regular student loans and these sorts of things. So NIL actually provided Auburn baseball with an opportunity to get that full cost of attendance covered so that you're not out of pocket and you're putting a little something in the athlete's pocket at the end of the day and catch up, because when you're recruiting against your bordering states, you've got that scholarship handicap and it's been tough for them. So, NIL has helped them close the talent gap and get to where they are today, where they're competing for championships.
All right, let's see if they can finally bring it home, because the road to Omaha starts in Auburn. It'd be really exciting to see how far they can get in that tournament. One of the toughest tournaments in college sports. So we got to also talk about some football. We got to talk a little old school here. Bo Jackson gets into the Cotton Ball Hall of Fame. For a lot of us who didn't experience what Bo did when he was on the Plains, him getting into the Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame is pretty amazing. What can you say about Bo's impact even now on the Plains?
Being able to have those Heisman winners in your history, it means something. When they bring recruits to Auburn and you walk around the campus and you see, Bo's Heisman Trophy and you see the things, how he's been immortalized in Auburn lore, it means something to recruits. So yes, this is a huge thing for him so many years after the fact. You and I grew up watching Bo Jackson. Do you remember the cartoon All Stars?
Stars. Yeah. It was him, like Michael Jordan and
Wayne Gretzky.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And they were like sports icons that became superheroes, which was amazing.
I don't know if there is a greater symbol to how iconic you are that you have your own cartoon as a baseball player
/ football player.
Yeah, man. Bo means so much to Auburn, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's been there carrying the flag for them. I was on campus for a meeting this past weekend. Another project that I'm doing. And when you walk into the Graduate Hotel down there in Auburn, right by Sky Bar, it is Bo Jackson themed.
Wow.
It's Bo everything all over the place. And when you look at the wall of his achievements, all the moments that he gave Auburn fans during a time where we didn't have as much access to media as we do now and highlights and things of that nature, it really underscores the impact that he's had, not only on Auburn, but on college sports in general. Right. Just one of a kind. This is long overdue, I think, in my book, but certainly well earned.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Bo. I know that a lot of it has been made of what Travis Hunter was able to do on a football field, play both sides of the ball. Imagine Bo, but playing football and then playing baseball, and then he did it in the pros as well. It was absolutely crazy. Congratulations to Bo as well. Speaking of college football, a lot has changed when it comes to the postseason of college football. It looks like now we're going to straight seeding. Some hate it, some love it. So basically what this means, if you are the top-ranked team and you have a number 1 seed all throughout the regular season, you're the number 1 seed. It happened to, the whole conference champions. We're trying to make it matter. Do you like the way this straight seeding is working?
I warned people. They said the NIL would even the playing field. It hasn't really. It's just put a gap between the haves and the have-nots because people with the money are still the people with the money.
And they're pouring more money into it now.
Yes, right. And now there's no limits on what they can do. As far as straight seating is concerned, what the little guy wanted was he wanted a shot.
Yeah, and that's what Boise State got.
Yeah, and they're still getting their shot. It's just a tougher hill to climb, and that is predicated on who did you play during the regular season. Well, the straight seeding, you understand what that means, is that if you're in the SEC, if you're in the Big Ten, you have the biggest advantage.
100%.
Right? If you're in the ACC or the Big 12, then you've got that next tier kind of benefit of the doubt, but still, you're at a disadvantage to your SEC and Big Ten peers.
Your conference overall is just not as strong.
Just not as strong. And then if you're on the outside looking in, anybody outside of the Power 4 conferences right now, and we say Power 4 for our listeners because it used to be Power 5.
Pac-12.
The Pac-12 just went away.
For example, my alma mater, UTSA, would be on the outside of the Power 4.
Correct, yes. Then you're going to get your shot. It's going to be the longest of shots, but you're still going to get your shot. If you think about the NFL model, which I talked to Hugh Freeze about it, he said this is really what we're headed towards.
Yeah.
What he wants is he wants a system where if you lose 1 or 2 games, you're not completely out of it. So those games continue to mean something as the season goes along. I'm okay with this because I think that it does still mean something for those teams on that back half fighting for those last, 3 or 4 playoff spots to continue to fight. And if you are a 9-win team, you should be in the conversation for one of those last playoff spots. So really, it shifts the intrigue from the front to the back of the pack, and I think that's where we'll see all the excitement is. Who gets in last? In the NCAA tournament for basketball,
first four in.
That's what this feels like it's creating. So I like it. I think that it's fine. It was never going to be a perfect system, and I think it's important to underscore to our viewers that there's no solution that everybody's going to be happy with.
That's the biggest point right
None.
there. Someone is going to be mad at some way along the process. One interesting thing, now stick with me, this is kind of a 10,000-foot point of view thing. Lincoln Riley goes up and he says he would like to continue the USC-Notre Dame rivalry next year. We thought that USC-Notre Dame, for those of us who follow college football, would be in perpetuity. This is something that they play forever. They've been doing it forever, outside of the pandemic and like a world war. But now there's so much priority on getting to the playoff. So now, as a Big Ten team, they just want to schedule as many Big Ten teams as possible.
Right.
I get that. You want to get to the playoff. But now you're compromising some tradition. And obviously, some traditionalists are like, no, you need to play USC Notre Dame every single year. Kind of an extreme example. Could this affect other historic rivalries? I don't think the Iron Bowl would ever be in question because both teams are in the SEC, but is this kind of a shift we have to anticipate as a college football fan base?
I think with all the conference realignment,
that's a big point.
Traditional rivalries be destroyed. When Texas A&M came to the SEC,
Texas
that went away for a time. Now it's back, right? But Texas had to join the SEC to make that happen. Look, it could affect some other rivalries. There's some that are untouchable, right? Michigan, Ohio State,
big one.
Untouchable.
Right.
Alabama, Auburn, untouchable. You're going to see those games played every year. But there are others that they just have to do what's in the best interest of them trying to win championships. Now, if you're Notre Dame, I've been a long proponent of just join a conference already. Just be a part of something, Rex. But in the situation that they're in, with special accommodations kind of being made for Notre Dame every year, what they're finding is like, look, you're just like everybody else. And if you're going to choose to go the independent route, you may find yourself on the outside looking in because everybody is making the adjustment for what works best to get the most teams from their conference in. Greg Sankey and I talk about this every year. I plan on talking to him about it again. I said, Commissioner, are we going to 9 conference games? He said, look, whatever gets the most SEC teams in the playoffs is what we're going to do.
Such a political answer.
When you talk to the coaches, though, they feel like it's hard enough already. They said
it's a very difficult conference.
I mean, I know that we had some SEC teams come up short last year of the playoffs, Rex. But the path for them was clear. The path for Alabama was clear. They blew it. The path for Missouri was clear. They blew it. Ole Miss had the easiest path of all of them.
And they blew it.
They beat Georgia, and then they still blew it.
Right.
So them blowing it doesn't change the math for them, though. Yeah. You win 10 teams as an SEC team, and in a 16-team conference, realistically, you could have 5 10-win teams.
And all 5 of those in this seeding, they could all be the top 5 seeds.
Yeah, they're all going to go, right? So it's a tough math. It's always been a tall climb for those at the back of the pack. This doesn't really change that. They still have an opportunity to make it. They just have to prove it. So that'll put the onus on scheduling tough non-conference games. Right. And this has been tough for those teams, because what happens is, if you're trying to schedule that game, Rex, and I'm Auburn, Alabama, I don't have any incentive to play that game with an SEC schedule in the non-conference. I'm scheduling cream puffs because my conference schedule.
Why would I schedule Notre Dame, Penn State, USC when I have to play 8 SEC games anyway? What am I doing here?
Speaking of which, at the end of my one-on-one with Hugh Freeze, he did mention that Auburn Notre Dame is something they're trying to make happen for 2029-2030.
Ladies and gentlemen, find a ticket, start saving money.
Yeah, I was excited about that
one. That's incredible. Speaking of the fan experience, we got to touch on the improvements that are happening at Jordan Hare Stadium. A big old video boards going on the north side, north end zone right there. I think that's outstanding. How do you think that's going to affect the fan experience?
It's well overdue.
Right.
Now, at Auburn, we have this nostalgia thing that we're kind of tied to. There are a lot of people who just said it's too iconic, you can't take it down. I like, the antique look of it.
Yeah.
People just need to see what's going on without breaking their necks to turn around when you go to other stadiums, Rex. They've got screens in the 4 corners,
sure.
and this is really to enhance the game experience, right, for sure, because depending on where you sit, it's really hard to see what's going on the field. Now, if you remember the South end zone project, scoreboard project, it was at the time, and I believe it still is, the largest outdoor video board in the country.
Y'all.
Yeah, it's insane. And as somebody who used to climb that as a student to do coaches film, I can tell you what they put up there is absolutely magnificent. So I just took a picture of this the other day when from the top of the Graduate Hotel during my meeting. It's coming along nicely. Should be operational for the 2025 season, and so it really is going to enhance the fan experience. Just really underscores the commitment to the program and the money that Auburn football drives. Sure. They will spare no expense to make sure that they have the best team, the best players, and the best facilities out there.
And look, they're starting to showcase this now. Someone who's covered a few games at Jordan Hare Stadium, it is really interesting to have this beautiful scoreboard on one end zone and then your traditional scoreboard on the other.
Yes, absolutely.
So it is an interesting. I'm really excited to see how this will turn out. But hey, look, no place like Jordan Hare when a crazy game goes down on a Saturday night. Absolutely outstanding. Mike, thank you so much yet again. Where can people find you? Because you're doing a lot of great stuff on YouTube as well.
Yeah, look, SEC Media Days is on the way, so you want to follow me. You definitely want to follow Rex as well. We'll be in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame this July, covering the coaches and everything they have to say about their teams. Hugh Freeze goes on Tuesday this year, so you definitely want to tune into that. But follow us on social media at the War Rapport. You can follow me at Mike Gittens on Twitter, at Mike Gittens _ on Instagram.
All right, y'all, that'll do it for another edition of War Rapport Wednesday. A lot of great things. Look, it's never too early to talk about football. We know this. You know this at home. Guys, we'll see you guys next week.